So, Hanni, how are you feeling about first day at work today?
It's going to be good fun.
It's like first day at primary school.
Isn't it?
If you watch the Chateau Diaries for any length of time, you've definitely seen Hanni. She is the calm, comforting presence who effortlessly materializes whenever the Chateau de Lalande descends into its usual state of beautifully organized chaos. You've seen her wrapping gifts at Christmas, coordinating massive parties, hauling heavy decor, and laughing right alongside Stephanie Jarvis. Yet, despite years of these familiar on-screen appearances, Hanni remains one of the least understood people in the entire Chateau universe, an incredibly impressive feat in the age of the internet. We live in a digital ecosystem where privacy is currency spent for views. We know where Philip went to school, we know Marie's exact career trajectory, we know Dan's entire life story. Heck, we know more about the historical provenance of Stephanie's antique porcelain collections than we know about Hanni. So, who exactly is she? Why has she been such a comforting constant for so long? And perhaps most importantly, how on earth has she managed to completely avoid becoming the center of Chateau drama, when practically everyone else eventually ends up being heavily dissected, analyzed, and turned into a fiery Reddit post? If there's one thing this community loves, it's a theory about a theory that someone else posted under a completely different theory. Yet somehow, Hanni remains remarkably untouched by the gossip mill. The first thing that sets Hanni apart is an emotional one. She never seemed to arrive at the chateau looking for something. Think about the regular faces we see on the channel. Many arrived as volunteers. Some came looking for a grand European adventure, while others arrived during a painful or confusing period of transition in their lives, using Lalande as a safe harbor to figure out their next step. From those visits, entire businesses were built, new YouTube channels were launched, and completely new identities were forged. But Hanni always felt entirely different. Right from the beginning, there was a distinct, beautiful sense that while she deeply loved Lalande, she never needed it. She wasn't trying to build a brand or carve out a niche for herself. Instead, she clearly had a rich, fully established life elsewhere. And that's a vital distinction. People naturally behave differently when they occupy a space purely out of love rather than necessity. Over the years, fascinating snippets occasionally slipped out about her professional life, leaving viewers astonished. Unlike many Chateau personalities whose lives revolve entirely around restoration or content creation, Hanni has a highly successful corporate career completely outside of the YouTube world. Many fans were shocked to learn that she is a highly qualified lawyer who gives public keynote speeches, including a fascinating intellectual presentation floating around online regarding the technicalities of how to break your block. There is something deeply entertaining, almost comical, about discovering that the person you've spent years watching climb rickety ladders, carry heavy furniture around rural France, and spend entire afternoons debating table settings is actually a high-powered corporate attorney. It's a spectacular contrast. In a modern social media landscape where oversharing is the norm, Hanni operating under the belief that personal matters can simply stay private is almost revolutionary. It's a wild concept, but it works. This boundaries-first approach is likely the secret to her enduring relationship with Stephanie Jarvis. Let's be completely honest, a lot of people have cycled through Lalande over the years. Some stay for 6 months, some stay for 2 years, and some exit so thoroughly that newer viewers have absolutely no idea who longtime fans are even talking about. Yet, Hanni remains an absolute constant, and that doesn't happen by accident. Maintaining friendships for a few years is normal. Maintaining a friendship through major life changes, a rapidly exploding YouTube channel, sudden internet fame, intense public scrutiny, and endless, stressful renovations. That is an extraordinary feat. Running a chateau looks incredibly glamorous through a camera lens, but in reality it's probably 80% stress, 15% spreadsheets, and 5% trying to figure out why water is suddenly pouring through a wall that looked perfectly fine yesterday. Keeping a friendship alive and healthy in that high-pressure environment is tough, yet Hanni has remained one of Stephanie's closest, most trusted confidants through every single phase of the channel. For long-time viewers, Hanni represents something deeply emotional, a living bridge to the old Chateau Diaries. Fans frequently break the channel down into distinct eras: the volunteer era, the restoration era, the pandemic era, the Philip era, and yes, the infamous porcelain era. The channel has evolved dramatically, which is natural, but Hanni somehow feels uniquely tethered to the DNA of those early days. She reminds viewers of a time when the vlogs felt a bit less polished, less commercial, and a little more spontaneous. Whether that's objective reality or just powerful nostalgia talking is up for debate. Nostalgia has a funny way of making us remember the sunny highlights while conveniently forgetting the endless, mundane discussions about broken boilers and insulation issues. Still, there's no denying that Hanni feels like a warm, nostalgic anchor to that early period, which is precisely why viewers get so genuinely sentimental whenever she pops back up on screen. Let's compare Hanni to virtually every other recurring personality in the Chateau universe. Dan launched his own wildly successful channel. Philip became a major on-screen co-host. Marie developed her own dedicated following. Meanwhile, Hanni never showed an ounce of interest in building a personal brand. She never seemed desperate for the camera's attention, and she never tried to convert her screen time into a business opportunity. And honestly, that might be the smartest decision anyone in the entire Chateauverse has ever made. Public attention always comes with a steep tax. The more the audience knows about you, the more opinions they form. The more opinions they form, the more they criticize your choices. It is practically a law of physics on the internet at this point. Yet Hanni bypassed the trap entirely. She shares almost nothing, is perfectly comfortable staying in the background, and has never once positioned herself as a main character. The beautiful irony is that this exact humility is what makes her so incredibly memorable. There's a profound lesson in that. People who desperately chase online attention often struggle to hold it, while the people who couldn't care less about fame become utterly fascinating to us. Whenever Hanni is on screen, she radiates sheer competence. She is capable, organized, practical, and confident. She never has the energy of someone standing around waiting for instruction or trying to look busy for a vlog clip. She gives off the vibe of someone who quietly spots a problem, fixes it behind the scenes, and moves on before anyone else even realizes anything was wrong. That is a massive asset in an environment like Lalande, which is essentially just an endless sequence of unexpected property disasters, occasionally interrupted by a lovely dinner party. What is most amusing is just how difficult it is to piece together a comprehensive biography of Hanni. Millions of people recognize her face instantly. Yet, there is almost zero public information about her personal life. It's like she accidentally cracked the ultimate code to internet longevity: show up, be genuinely helpful, be pleasant, leave, refuse to elaborate, return 6 months later and repeat. It's a masterclass in boundaries. Not everyone craves internet fame. Not everyone wants thousands of strangers analyzing their relationships or dissecting their personal life in a comment section. Hanni seemed to understand something years before the rest of the world did. The internet loves to convince us that visibility equals success. But visibility also brings immense pressure, unfair expectations, and a total loss of privacy. Hanni looked at that trade-off and quietly said, "No, thank you." If so, she might just be the smartest person in the room. At the end of the day, the real mystery of Hanni isn't the details of her private life. The real mystery is how she managed to remain so entirely herself despite years of exposure to a massive, passionate online audience. She never lost her identity to the cameras, she never started performing for the comments, and she never started living for the validation of the viewers. In today's digital world, that is a beautiful rarity. Ultimately, Hanni is a brilliant lawyer, a fiercely loyal friend, a core member of Stephanie's inner circle, and a familiar face at Lalande. But above all, she is one of the very few people in the entire Chateau Diaries universe who successfully avoided becoming a permanent character in someone else's story. Perhaps that's why we stay so interested in her. Not because we know too much, but because we know just enough to realize there's a whole lot more to her story than what we see on screen. And honestly, that's probably exactly how Hanni wants it.